and welcome back to the channel. It's once again your boy Tasteless, and today we're going to be doing a little guide on how to improve your aim within Tarkov. This information could also translate to other games as well, such as Counter-Strike and stuff like that. I'll be showing a few clips in the background, giving examples of what and what not to do. But like I said, this is just a couple of tips to help you guys improve on your aim. So one of the first things I want to talk about in this video is none other than crosshair placement. Crosshair placement is a huge part of Tarkov. It's so important. Having your crosshair in roughly the right position gives you a huge advantage when it comes to FPS games. So when we're not aimed in, we want to imagine there's a massive crosshair in the middle of our screen, indicating that when unscoped, this is where I'm going to fire. This is where the bullets are going to land, right? So if you were to hip fire, here's the thing with Tarkov. Hip fire isn't like Call of Duty or Counter-Strike. The bullet doesn't just fly off in a random direction. It's a realistic military simulator, right? So the bullet's going to come out the way the barrel's facing. It's going to fire in that direction. So the thing about crosshair placement is you want to always have it roughly head height. You know, when you're looking around, peeking corners, you don't want to be looking ground level. You want to estimate within your head the distance between you and the PMC and roughly where his head will be if he were to peek that corner or doorway. So like I said, imagine a crosshair in the middle of your screen, and this imaginary crosshair should always be around head height. Obviously, if you're moving upstairs, downstairs, up a hill, down a hill, this is going to variate, and that's where these miniature calculations come into play in your head. You know, where would his head be if he was X distance away down that hill? He's obviously going to be lower than I am. Having your gun at roughly head height means that when you do see a PMC and you lock onto them, as you're aiming in, your scope is likely already going to be on top of them. This means that you're less likely to have to readjust to where the player or the player's head would be, because you've already prepared for it. It's the same with clearing buildings. I'll do an example of this later, how to clear corners properly. But it's super important that, you know, you don't run in the building in a straight line and then clear as the angles come. You take it slow, you play angle for angle. This is a huge factor. I just want to show this clip actually. Sorry guys to interrupt. But my friend dropped a stim case into this door and we couldn't get out. So that was 1,000,000 rubles down the drain. I don't know why he dropped it. But yeah, make sure you guys be aware of that in the future. Don't drop those things. Anyway, back to the topic. So I will show you, like I said, later on in a factory clip, how to kind of clear corners and stuff like that effectively. So yeah, the first thing I want you guys to concentrate on is having your crosshair or your gun barrel, essentially, always facing towards the middle of your screen. Don't look at the floor. Don't look at random walls and corners. Definitely don't look at the ceiling. Always kind of be head height, PMC head height. The next thing I want to say kind of meshes with that as well. If you are struggling to, you know, kind of guess where their head height will be, don't be afraid to throw a laser on your gun. They're cheap, super effective. Like I said, in the game, blind firing, your bullets shoot where the barrel is. If you've got a laser, essentially, you don't have to aim in at all. Point the laser, shoot. Simple as that. A laser is a great way to learn how to aim in this game. How to keep your crosshair placement in the right position at all times. You don't want your crosshair to be drifting into weird, pointless areas. It doesn't mean you need to tunnel vision on the center of your screen, but your gun should always be around, like I said, when you're clearing a corner or an area, PMC head height. That's what we want to go for. Your eyes can be concentrated around the area around you. You know, looking into the bushes in the distance, stuff like that. But, you know, if someone's going to peek, you know he's going to peek from that angle. Then you want to hold that angle, head height. So when he peeks, your crosshair is on his head and he dies straight away. You don't want to give these people reaction time. You don't want to give them the chance to shoot back, right? The most effective way to kill someone is by shooting them in the face. It's quick, usually happens in one bullet, right? So just make sure your crosshair is always trained in the rough area where the head's going to be. Just like here. Obviously, recoil plays a slightly different part in that, but I had the advantage because he peeked into me and my crosshair was already ready. As you can see, I've adjusted my crosshair for the enemies to be downhill, but right now, I'm just waiting for them to peek. So like I said, crosshair placement, super important. Work on that. If you're having issues with that, throw a laser on your gun. Use that to kind of judge the center of the screen and where your crosshair should be. I also want to say, recoil is a thing in this game, horizontal and vertical. You need to get used to the guns. And if you're mix and matching, I've said this before in a previous video, if you're mix and matching guns, especially as a new player, you're doing it wrong. You want to try and stick to the same guns so you can build that muscle memory. You adjust to the recoil better. It's kind of like Counter-Strike. There's a set spray pattern for each gun. And if you manage to use muscle memory to learn the spray patterns and counter it, then you essentially have zero recoil, right? It's the same in Tarkov. Obviously in Tarkov, you can't perfectly learn purely because different attachments, everything's going to change. Your weight affects it, stuff like that. But just getting used to that initial kick of the gun, where it's horizontal, up and down, just getting the feel for the gun and using the same gun over and over, this will help you improve your aim. And when it comes to building those guns, don't sit there, mix and match and attachments. If you have attachment preferences, attachments you enjoy using, then use these and stick to these. Whether you prefer to have better ergo or better recoil, kind of stick to what you know and what you feel comfortable with. Everyone's different, so everyone's going to have a different preference. So yeah, moving on. Talk about the hideout, the gun range. This thing, if you want to learn a gun, practice a gun, that's what it's here for. Before going into a raid, always worth testing your gun, kind of getting a feel for it. As you can see, I'm using the AK-74. It's got 42 recoil. I don't even have to aim in. Just use the laser, and I'm headshotting this guy. Look at that. Obviously, the vertical kick at the beginning, quite hard, but it evens out after a couple of bullets. So yeah, make sure, before you get into a game, test the gun in a hideout. It's a great utility within Tarkov. You can sit there, you've got unlimited ammo. You can just keep shooting and shooting and shooting. So if you want to practice spray patterns, get used to the recoil, just come in here. Doesn't cost you anything. Shoot some dummies. And yeah, just have a little practice. Oh, the gun jammed. Brilliant. That can happen. Yeah, it's definitely worth coming in, having a practice. Unscoped, scoped. The world is your oyster. Have fun. Even if you sit there flicking from target to target, trying to land those headshots really quickly, that helps as well. It's like aim training. That's why it's such a good utility within Tarkov. To be able to do this is great. So yeah, so far we've talked about crosshair placement, which is really important, one of the most important factors. You've got lasers, super useful tool, help you improve your crosshair placement and also your hip fire. Like I said, don't compare this game to Call of Duty or something like that. The bullets fire where the barrel's aiming. So understanding where the center of your screen is a very important thing. Then we've got the hideout, great utility. You can just sit there, spray forever, and yeah, cost nothing. Just throw up my gun preset right now. As you can see, loads of lasers in this game. You got different types, different colors. You got flashlights, you got infrareds, but we're trying to improve our aim. So we want to stick to those lasers, not the flashlights, not the infrareds. We want to see a line. We want to see a red dot at the end. You've also got different grips in the game. Like I said, personal preference, what you prefer. You've got ergo grips. You've got recoil grips. Personally, I prefer recoil. I'm not too fussed about ergo. I usually tend to use like longer range scopes, voodoos, so I'm relatively slow anyway. Moving on, we're going to go into factory. Another thing I want to talk about. Before you start raiding, doing proper raids, when you wake up, or you finish work or whatever, before you really get into it, get a average loadout on the go and run into factory and just warm up, essentially. Just have a little run around, try and kill things. Yeah, I think factory is a great map to just warm up, get in the role, get in the flow of things. As you can see, we're just blind firing with the laser, super accurate. Clearing the corners. If anyone peeks there, their head's going to be right there. Take them out. No problem. Like I say, always try and aim for where their head's going to be. Just run around factory, warming up, blind firing, using the lasers or whatever. Just clearing angles, stuff like that. Practice your crosshair placement. Try and keep it head height if you can. 4x is also good, especially with recoil. You know, it's going to hit him in the head. But you want to aim for the head. Just run around, try and clear these corners, as you can see. Just slow clear them. Something really important I want to talk about before we end this. You want to clear the angles that you're open to, right? So as you can see here, we can't see behind the door. So we want to slow sweep around. That way we know we're covering every angle. But at the same time, we're not showing ourselves to every angle, right? We're only showing ourselves to the angles we know are clear. This raid seems pretty dead. Killed a couple of scavs. But there's not really much going on, sadly. We'll just head to the exit, clear some corners as we're going. Just try and show you how to efficiently do it. I'm not the best. I don't claim to be the best. You know, there are a lot of people better than me. But these are just the basics, you know. Stick to the basics and you will improve. Super simple advice. So we'll just do a little clear of this extract. See if anyone's camping it. Clear the corners effectively. You know, so we want to get there, open the door, don't show, don't stand in front of the door. As you can see, we've got the angle here and we can clear. We kind of sweep our crosshair while peeking across the angle. Trying to keep it nice and head height till we know, okay, that angle's clear. If you're really good, you really know your angles, you know where they're likely to be. You can kind of shoulder peek, get the information, and then you can kind of fast lean peek right on their head. As you can see, we lined that up. Boom. If anyone's there, they're dead. Just doing that fast lean peek, super helpful for information or trying to get a fast one tap. Definitely worth practicing that as well. So as we walk in here in a second, we're going to clear. So we now know that angle's clear. But what about our left side? So we shoulder peek. We want to try and pre-aim where they're likely to be. It's also not the worst idea to start pre-firing, because you don't know if there could be anyone there. And a couple of bullets, it's not the end of the world. So once again, open the door, clear the corner. We know that corner's clear. As you can see, I'm not showing. And just a lean, you can shoot around the corners. And while walking through the door, just kind of sweep your crosshair across to the angles you're showing. Here we go. And then pre-fire if you need to. So yeah, with that, that's the end of today's video. Couple of simple tips to help you improve your aim within Tarkov. I really hope that this could be helpful for you guys, especially new players as well. If you enjoyed the video, I appreciate it greatly if you were to hit that like button. If you've got any questions, feel free to ask in the comments. As always, if you do enjoy the content, make sure to subscribe, because there's plenty of it coming out. We've almost hit 200 subs, which is an absolute amazing feat. My goal was like 100 in the first 6 months, so this has been absolutely brilliant. I thank you all so much for the support. Appreciate you guys so much. I love you guys. So yeah, make sure to subscribe for future videos. Hope you guys have a nice day, and peace out.